Men marry girl bosses. That's the big thing. You know, I saw a movie, I think it's called The Unlikely Angel. It had, whatever his name was, somebody who was in Fireproof. He was in Fireproof. He was the Hispanic in Fireproof. I can't think of his name. You can look up Fireproof, the movie. And he was in a movie called The Unlikely Angel, and he was supposed to be helping a girl boss, and she wanted to work all the time. She had a baby, and she didn't really want to take care of it. It's kind of a burden to take care of the baby. And she got out of the hospital and handed the baby over to her husband. And the husband, you know, and when she got up out of the wheelchair, because they wheeled her out in a wheelchair from the hospital from having a baby. And she said, I have to go to work. And it was just all the time. And she just had to work all the time. She called herself a boss babe, or a boss girl, or something. It's a boss girl, boss girl, or something like that. And that's what we have in society today. And I say, if you're a boss girl, go girl. You know, because I think you already are. If you're a boss girl, I think you should go girl. I think you're already doing that. Boss girls want squishy men. Yeah, and so she got out of the hospital, and she took, she had the baby to her husband, and her husband looked like the caretaker. He would take care of the baby. I mean, there are several reasons why women have breasts. Part of it is sexual, and part of it is to take care of a baby. But she had the baby over her husband. Her husband looked kind of weak and soft, and she kind of wasn't caring for the baby. She just sent her over to her husband, and it's kind of an interesting movie. I enjoyed the movie. It was okay. What was his name? I can't think of his name. The angel, but he was in Fireproof, and that's what women want. Women want squishy men. Men want boss babes. But I'm thinking this is just basically homosexuality. I don't have respect for women who boss their husbands around, and for men who marry women. And they marry each other, of course. They choose each other. And men who marry women to be bossed around by the woman. The woman, the boss babe, should find another babe to boss, and the squishy man should find another squishy man to squish with. I don't respect women who want women and they marry a man, and men who want men and they marry a woman. I don't understand that. I think it's societal. It's hypocritical. I saw several people on YouTube saying, that they were homosexual, and if you're homosexual and you're just pretty normal, I respect you. There was a woman that said it. There was a man that said it. I respect that, because I just don't see homosexuality, because people portray homosexuality. These church people who do these things anyway, they're married to the opposite sex and they do what they want to. I've come across them a lot of times. Married man with me, a married man was interested in me, and another married man with a daughter was interested in me, and they both were church people. They were churchmen. I mean, whatever. This is why I don't go to church. Um, but men want this. Men want the boss babe. Um, Women want to push around men. And it's basically, I mean, squishy men are men acting effeminate. They're you know, they may not be very, um, that may not be overtly feminine, but it's a feminine position to take for your wife to boss you around. It's not the way God made it. The way God made it was the woman was supposed to submit. And of course, biblically in Galatians 5, the man is supposed to submit too, but the woman is supposed to submit in everything. She's not to say, oh, you don't tell me that, or you can do this, oh, let me tell you this. She's not supposed to dominate the man, either in bed or anywhere. And if she wants to, I think she's got the wrong sex. I think she wants a woman. It's the same thing with a man. If a man doesn't want to dominate a woman and he marries a woman that's like that, and he can see that before he marries her, unless, you know, they get married in 5 minutes. He wants to be dominated by a man. It's very unpopular. I mean, we have people coming out of the closet, and like Mark Foley. Mark Foley was a congressman, like a senator, who came out of the closet. I don't know whether he was reelected, but he was standing there with his wife and his children, and he said he was a gay American. And I said, okay, well, at least you're not a gay Canadian. Just say he's homosexual. I don't know why he said he was an American. We assumed he was an American. There's somebody in Congress who's supposed to be illegal, not legally an American. Okay, woman in Congress, but you know, men are supposed to dominate women. You know, and women say, well, that's horrible. You know, this toxic masculinity. Well, the masculine women have toxic masculinity. I mean, it's kind of mixed with feminism, not feminism, but it's you have women who are acting like they're a mix between a man and a woman, and you have men acting like they're a mix between a man and a woman. But see, women will have this toxicity. You know, I mean, it's very well known. The women won't admit it, but it's very well. There was a lesbian woman. There was a lesbian, and she was saying, you know, the women are dominating the men. You know, so it used to be and it was true. It was very true. I grew up during that time. The men would dominate the women in the past, and now she said now it's reversed. It has. If you want a healthy, happy marriage, don't marry someone who will dominate you if you're a man. And don't marry someone who you want to take the back seat if you're a woman. You know, men are not automatically being bad by dominating. Because people get confused, dominate, control. When women are acting like the things they say they hate in men, women are saying, women are bossing people around the way they feel that men would boss them around. And it's true. You know, I believe people need Christ. I believe people need Christ. And they don't have Christ. So you've got the bosser and the bossy. You've got the woman bossing. You could have the man bossing the woman around. I've heard about that before too. There was I used to scoff at this, but it's a legitimate concern. There was a woman who said her husband was raping her, and he would force her to have sex when she didn't want to. He would just overpower her. But we're to overpower women, not in hatred, but in love. And they're supposed to submit to it. Now, not submit to abuse, but they're supposed to be feminine, you know. So that's what I think. That's what I know. You know, if you're a homosexual man, more power to you. If you're just honest about it, not that you should necessarily tell everybody, but if you're just honest about it, okay. People gossip, people slander, people steal, people get angry when they shouldn't get angry. I think we've all been angry when we shouldn't have been angry. So people do wrong things. So I mean, I just if you're a homosexual man, and especially if you're not married to a woman, more power to you. I'm not saying that homosexuality is right. It's not right. But I respect that more. The same thing with a woman. If you're a girl boss, and you admit you're a lesbian, you admit you're homosexual, more power to you. I appreciate the honesty. Honesty is also a Christian value, a Christian moral. I don't appreciate people using their wives or their husbands as a shield for criticism for being homosexual. There was a man in our church that was homosexual. He married a man. So there are worse things that can be done than homosexuality. And homosexuality is one of it comes after adultery. Was adultery? Yeah. Homosexuality comes after fornication and adultery. So the people act like it's just the bottom of the list, the worst thing you could do. I don't understand that kind of behavior. I don't understand that kind of attitude. I think it's just societal. It's embarrassing to some people. It's embarrassing to a lot of people, I guess. But I don't see a reason to be so critical of people. The people that are criticizing are judging, and Paul said, "Do you think you will escape God's judgment?" Homosexuals might come to Christ, and get away from that, which would be great. But the man is the man has a lower voice. It's a more dominant voice. They have a beard. Maybe some of them have beards. They have more body hair usually, on average. They're meant to dominate. They're bigger. They're taller. They're more muscular in the upper body. We know the way it's supposed to be, but we don't want to listen to God when it comes to marriage. Christian marriage should be with both people being Christians. And I wouldn't say there's nothing to talk about, but basically there's nothing to talk about. If somebody's a Christian and he's been a Christian for a while, instead a woman's a Christian and she's been a Christian for a while, there's some things that don't need to be talked about. It's kind of like getting married and having sex. Well, yeah, we had sex after marriage. Yeah, well, yeah. Do you need to talk about? Well, okay. Well, when we get married, we're gonna have sex. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. It's what you signed up for when you got married. And some people, there was someone on Dr. Laura, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, or Dr. Laura shows with Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and the woman said, "Well, yeah, you had sex with me during our honeymoon," and they said, I think it was once. They had sex once. She said, "How long ago was this?" "Years ago, we had sex with me once, that was it." She said, "There's something wrong there." I don't understand this kind of hypocritical behavior where it goes to the point where a man will marry a woman and just doesn't want her. I don't understand that. Or a woman will marry a man and she just doesn't want him. It's the same with sex. If a man might want sex, the woman should submit to that. And if a woman wants to maybe vacation in Tahiti, or maybe not Tahiti, it's not the best place, but Bora Bora or something like that. Maybe the man doesn't want to go to Bora Bora because he loves his wife, which is what he's supposed to do. He's commanded to love his wife. It doesn't say argue. It doesn't say, be angry. It doesn't say be violent. It says to love your wives. So you're going to Tahiti, if you're not living on food stamps like I am, and I can't get married living on food stamps. I mean, oh, you could get married. Yeah, right. I could get married to the woman I want to get married to, you know, and if I mean, you're going to Bora Bora, you know. If the woman wants to go to Bora Bora, you're going to Bora Bora, not because she's the girl boss, but because you love her, and that's it.